Imagine this. You are born with a fragile body that cannot move comfortably, no right arm and unable to feel anything in the lower part of your body. Moonlight burns you and causes pain. Your skin is fragile and weak, so you have to always cover it. Plugged with countless cables and pipes and confined in a bathtub your entire life. You try to do something about it. You agree to help the enemy, but you impose a binding vow on them, forcing them to heal you. And you even went to lengths to not let them harm any of your allies, minimizing casualties, working alone, and planning to screw the enemy plan and inform Gojo about it, essentially getting insider info and trying to ruin their plan after that. But you get shut down and forced to fight. You fight as hard as you possibly can, doing the impossible and almost winning. You want to finally be able to live, to walk around, to experience sunlight on you, companionship and love. You want to live life. Screw all of the cursed energy and powers you gained from the heavenly restriction. You will trade all of that for one normal day in a normal body. You get brutally killed, publicly remembered as a traitor, your corpse left alone like you always have been. Loneliness is probably the most major theme in the story of Jujutsu Kaisen, even more than strength and death, since loneliness not only is present wherever the other two are, but throughout the whole plot and in the lives of most of the cast, be it Yuji, Sukuna, Gojo, or any other major one. Loneliness in Jujutsu Kaisen is highlighted and explored from many different angles, all throughout the narrative. Yuji thanked Nobara for assisting him and in his own words showed him that he is not alone. His grandfather Wasuke, whose last words were to not die alone like him and be surrounded by loved ones. Megami's solitary and isolated bearing of weight that he imposes on himself, isolating himself. Yuta's journey of learning how to fight for those he loves and protect them instead of, again, isolating himself to not hurt them. Some people like Hakari, Kashimo, and Ryu fill a void inside of them with the thirst for battle and challenging opponents. Todo does though in a different way. He does it through brotherhood and friendship. Yorozu and Angel search for love. Junpei befriends Mahito to gain strength and hang out with him, as he has no one to do so with, contrasted by his new friendship with Yuji, which puts the introverted, troubled loner between the two personifications of humanity and curses. Riko wants to form friendships, have fun, and see things in life instead of being treated as a vessel for Tengen. Everything about Gojo, from his existence, powers, symbolism, and domain expansion. Sukuna and the strength that isolates you and makes you unable to understand people, and vice versa. In a story all about humanity's fears and struggles against the world and against themselves, loneliness is a hollow feeling no one wants to live with. It is something we all wish to stay away from. Other mangas tackle it all the time, for it is a very human and primal fear, and a very sad one. I could talk about any of the major cast in this video, but I chose two side characters to focus on and analyze, not only to show the different and underrated angles from which the story is told and the themes are explored, but to shed light on the brilliant characterization that can accomplish so much with small amounts of screen time while still being very profound and meaningful. As much as there are different characters, there are different ways that loneliness is explored, so I am choosing to even focus further on ones related to blood, be it bloodlines or literal blood techniques. So this analysis is going to be centered around two people, Noritoshi Kamo and Choso. Noritoshi Kamo is the son of the current head of the Kamo clan, a very important figure in the world of sorcery. His mother, however, was just a concubine, a woman of no importance, since his father was unable to get a proper heir who was born with a valuable technique. Noritoshi was blessed, or more like cursed, with blood manipulation, which is the most precious technique in the history of their clan. So of course he was accepted and he's going to be the next head of the clan. His mother, however, they had no use for her anymore. She was looked down on and harassed for who she was and was ultimately driven out of the clan. Kamo wanted to go with her, but she insisted he stays and lives up to his potential, live his best life and get that head seat. Noritoshi's goal is to become the head and bring his mother back. That's why he works hard and follows orders. He is a smart and strong third-year student that leads his school and is very well versed in the politics of the clans and in the nature of Jujutsu. He is dependable, he assists his allies and passes knowledge and wisdom. He follows orders to the point that he went with the plan of killing Yuji just because his principal told him so. Kamo is doing his best to learn, develop and grow stronger. He even admitted he was wrong about Yuji and blindly following an order instead of assessing the situation and the person in front of him.
お前はなぜ呪術師をやっている？きっかけは成り行きっす。寂しがりなんでね。いっぱい人を助けて、俺が死ぬとき、大勢に見とってほしいんすよ。
Kamo still has that one motivation of growing into the head of the clan he is supposed to be. The whole reason he was given birth to. And he only wants to do that for the sake of his mother. The clan does not like him, and even his father is awful. He is alone and he gets it. That is how and why he understood Yuji, and he was reminded of his own loneliness.
母様がいないなら呪術師なんてならない。Noritoshiには才能がある。たくさんの人を助けられるの。助けた数だけあなたは人に認められる。そうしたら今度はいろんな人があなたを助けてくれる。一人なのは今だけだよ。いつか立派な呪術師になって母さんを迎えに来てね。
He is only alone for now. Help others, they will help him, and still go after his mother and make a place for her. Understanding Yuji's situation in this one moment helps Kamo understand himself better, and the result is renewing his drive and still following his goal. He helps in Shibuya as much as he can, where he meets Kenjaku, who was supposedly also called Noritoshi Kamo at one point. A sorcerer known publicly to have been the most evil sorcerer ever, a sorcerer from his clan who is considered a stain in the Kamo clan, yet they share the same name for some reason. We will be back to this point later. We get to see Kamo in Sakurajima in the cooling game, except he is different this time. He abandoned the traditional clothing and hairstyle he used to have, and even his formal way of speech and mannerisms are different. Something is different. See, Kamo is a loner and works hard to change his and his mother's lives. All he has is his blood, his fortune of being the next head of the clan. So what if you take that away from him? Well, Kenjaku did. He killed his father and took the clan for himself. No one stood with Noritoshi. No one liked him anyways. So he lost the only thing that makes him worth anything to anyone. He decides to go visit his mother, and she has already moved on. She has a new family where she lives happily, and there he is, watching from his corner of the world, alone like he always has been. This does not break Kamo. He's smart and resilient. He still fights alongside Maki to take down Naoya. He does his best like always. He bleeds and pushes himself to the extreme. He and Maki, the outcasts of tradition who just got glow-ups after their lives changed, against the product of tradition, Naoya, who plays the role of a foil for Maki, and he is an heir of a clan, just like Kamo, a perfectly balanced thematic antagonist for both of them in this one fight. And even considering the blood symbolism related to these three, You can add in Choso, who has already defeated Naoya in battle, another parallel for Kamo since they have the same technique. Naoya even says he hates blood manipulation because he remembers that fight. Maki gets injured in the fight and Noritoshi has to cover up for her, so he fights the much stronger and much faster Naoya. He risks dying from blood loss through manipulating his blood and circulating it inside and outside to not essentially run out. A lot of risks, but it's all to let Maki recover and be able to fight again. He fights and his reason is simple: help others so that they help him. And that way, even if he loses everything, he will not lose himself for nothing. And then and there, where he is beaten around and falls, yet gets back up on his feet, is when one of my favorite lines in the whole manga is uttered. If no one needs you, then burn away your life. Let my comrades burn away their lives upon my ashes. After the battle is over, Kamo tells Maki he is worthless now, and about his name which he got from his mother. She tells him not to make the same mistake she did, misjudging her mother and only understanding it after it was too late and all was lost. Maki's regrets guide him to not give up yet, because she was right. Noritoshi's mother named him Noritoshi Kamo purposefully. She hated the clan, and naming their future head after someone they hate was an act of spite for herself, but also a gift for him. The name is cursed, but she did not curse him. She named him that so he ditches the clan and come to her. Screw the seat of the head, Frikshaku stole it anyways. We get to see her new younger son asking about his older brother and wondering if he is nice, and the mother reassures him, telling him that he is her son. Even Maki's mother was still glad she gave birth to her and Mai. In that dark abyss called the Zenin clan, they were her lights, they were her pride, her beautiful and precious daughters. And Kamo is his mother's pride, her first son, her own blood. Kamo takes Maki's advice and connects with his mother and gets into his new family. He cares for his younger brother and stepfather. Even in Shinjuku, he apologizes for not helping against Sukuna because he wants to go abroad with his family and protect them. Yet he still helps teach Yuji blood manipulation and uses that perfect student wisdom and guidance to make him understand the complexity of the technique, so he still helped. In the end, Kamo was not alone like his mother told him. Since he helped others, he paid Yuji back after attempting to take his life. He helped Maki, and she in turn helped back, and he got back to his mother like she wanted, instead of misunderstanding her and thinking she abandoned him. His mother's words and advice were brought to life through his journey. Life is hard and tragic and sometimes throws you in places you don't want to be. And even though Kokushimuta, who was not fortunate enough like Kamo to be able to rise and change, he had still found and reached for something and almost got it. The worst thing after all is succumbing to your situation and not trying to do anything. Sometimes you get good results and sometimes you don't. And for now, let's take a look at the older sibling. The central theme of this video is loneliness and how being surrounded by loved ones you protect and fight for is necessary. And there isn't a single character that embodies the latter sentence more than Choso, the older brother of 9 siblings, and he wears that proudly. Choso lives and dies for his brothers, and when he is robbed the one thing in life he values, he goes on the path of revenge. His pent-up anticipation and desire to kill Yuji and Nobara for murdering his cute little siblings. Manipulated by Kenjaku, Choso kills people and participates in the Shibuya incident, all while patiently waiting for and going out of his way to kill Yuji, which Jogo doesn't approve of. And it's that love and frustration that leads him to not waste a second when he meets Yuji. No words exchanged, the man in front of him robbed him of his reason for living. He ruthlessly attacked with the intent to kill, only stopping to ask one question.
弟、最後に何か言い残したか。弟？ち、お前たちが殺した二人の話だ。泣いてたよ。
That's it. You are dead. Even after Mekamaru's intervention in the fight that Yuji is able to put up, Choso still overpowers him. I always saw this fight from an angle that Choso has a boost of strength because of his boiling emotions. Same way we learned that negative emotions are cursed energy and they need to be controlled. Even though he is much stronger than the current Itadori, who to be fair managed to ground himself and purposely ready himself for death to serve his role. Unbeknownst to the two of them, they are blood brothers. Choso wins and he goes for the kill, and that's when it happens. His instincts kick in. His blood connection with his siblings tells him Itadori is his brother. On the brink of death, he understands it. After a lot of shock and processing, Choso understands what's going on. Yuji is in fact his brother, and the theory behind how is vaguely clear to him now. The reason behind all of this chaos and confusion, Kenjaku. To him, this is the old Noritoshi Kamo, the man who experimented on his mother, the man who mixed his blood in a cursed womb and forced 9 pregnancies, most leading to failure. His father. Choso hates him, loathes him, for many reasons, but mostly because he almost made him kill his brother. And to Choso, that's unforgivable. But of course, he is no match for Kenjaku yet, in his own words. When asked why he was fighting when he stood no chance, Choso says that's not a reason to not fight for his younger brother. Also, can we take a moment and curse this bastard Kenjaku? He is the reason Kamo's life went downhill. He is the reason Muta died. Because he raised a barrier and made him fight Mahito. He is the reason Choso's brothers are dead. He let Choso fight Yuji and almost killed him. And he gave birth to both of them, the father of one and the mother of the other. He is the progenitor of blood and loneliness, which is what this video is about. So, it's all Kenjaku's deeds. Even though I explained in my overanalyzing domains video that he is inspired by a bodhisattva that guides others towards enlightenment, Kenjaku guides people towards pain and suffering and loneliness. And if we really think about it, that is the essence of enlightenment in Jujutsu Kaisen. So there is some merit to that. The strength that isolates you and binds your soul with loneliness. Kenjaku is the monk that pursues his own entertainment and curiosity. He doesn't fulfill his role. When Choso asked him why he does all of this, he smiles and says, because it's fun, unbothered and carefree. Choso sides with Yuji from now on, and to say he was an emotional support is an understatement. Choso was a pillar that stood firm when Yuji's psyche should, by all means, have already collapsed. He helps ease the burden for killing Eso and Kishizu on his back, and sacrifices himself when met with Yuta and Naoya, who are a threat to Yuji's life. He has a reason to fight, so he fights and wins too. Against the previously mentioned Naoya, who talks ill of his brothers and disrespects them, that's when he lost the fight against Choso before it even started. If you have no one to fight for, then how can you possibly win against him? The almost comical obsession with his brothers is such a raw and relatable emotion that I, as an older sibling, absolutely understand. Way beyond it being used as a joke or a silly motive, what bigger motive can there possibly ever be? Even before he and Yuji are separated, he passes by his other siblings and promises them he will come back for them again. Those very siblings that become a part of Yuji and give him strength. Choso fights Kenjaku again. He offers to fight him alone in order to make Tengen's plan work. He is not supposed to win, he simply cannot. But he will force Kenjaku to use his other technique. The fight goes as expected, Choso trying as hard as he can, but not really doing anything to Kenjaku. Except he fights even harder, his blood boiling with his newfound purpose, his veins channeling cursed energy, and his life being burnt for his brother. Even as he is losing and being hurt, Choso feels the hands of his brothers on his back, lending him strength. And that's enough for him, as he borrows styles and powers through imitation. Like Eso, elegantly, like Kishizu, freely, like Yuji, powerfully. He gets Kenjaku on the ground and surprises him with moves he doesn't know. Not hurt, but on the edge, and that's when Choso wins. Using a unique move of his own creation, not even Kenjaku, who had already used blood manipulation, knows about. Supernova forces Kenjaku to reveal his gravity technique to defend himself. And Choso laughs. He won for his brothers. He forced Kenjaku to use something other than cursed manipulation. And he leaves the rest to Yuki, who calls him awesome, and believe it or not, he is also her type. A hardworking, muddy guy. Fast forwarding through the fight, Choso rejoins Yuki, surprising Kenjaku and assisting in the fight. And when things take a very bad turn, Yuki forces Choso out and tells him to live this time as a human. Drop all of the regret of killing humans because he sided with curses, and be reborn and live differently. I love Yuki for her wisdom and intelligence. She is Todo's mentor and mother figure, and she leaves Choso with a piece of advice that recontextualizes his entire existence. Upon closer inspection, we spot a parallel as well. Todo and Choso are Yuji's brothers, and she was essential in forming who they became. Choso helps in the fight against Sukuna. Like the theme of this video, lonely dudes who fight harder against all odds for a reason or another, all fueled by their longing for something or someone. Choso fights hard, and on the brink of death, he gets back up and helps, even if it's for distraction, to support anything he can. And when death looms and hope shrinks, Sukuna activates his domain and death is guaranteed. Choso sacrifices himself, and he creates a barrier with his blood for his blood. He protects Yuji and dies with a smile, not a single ounce of regret, and filled with pride. This time, he not only lived as a human, but he also died as one. And the rest is history. Without Choso, Yuji would be dead, and Sukuna would never be defeated. Without Choso, Yuji would have collapsed after Shibuya. He left his mark in the world, and he was loved for it. Many thanks for watching.